When we started Storm Frame Windows in 1999, we wanted to fabricate an impact-rated product.
Coming up in the news, from pulpits to policies, mixed reactions coming in from pastors as the Bahamas' Cannabis Bill enters public discourse. Meanwhile, the Progressive Liberal Party's chairman confronts the GBPA regarding the Cannabis Bridge repairs. And a financial expert shares what you should know when using your credit card for purchases. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping news tonight, the Attorney General recently announcing that the release of the proposed Cannabis Bill is now here and public and garnering responses from pastors on the island. They are giving their mixed views on the proposal and what could possibly be the new Bahamas. Our Jolanda Thompson-Everest joins us live in studio. Jolanda, what can you tell us?
Yes, Romiko, as the government moves to establish and regulate the cannabis industry in the nation. While this topic is not a new one, it has been quite controversial in the past. Well, we spoke with local pastors on the island to see how they feel about the legislation of marijuana for medicinal and religious purposes. And Romiko, the response may surprise you.
I'm against what's going on as it relates to the bill. However, for the medicinal situation, if that's just specifically for that, I support it.
We should have been trying to legalize cannabis in some form for a very long time.
It is then the responsibility of authorities, whatever that level of authority is, in this case it's the government, to ensure that the users of this substance is protected.
When you have drugs, when you have medicine that can help those who are infirmed, those who are sick, in the case of cancer to reduce pain, the case of arthritis, yes, it's a good thing.
One would think that our government would concentrate on first establishing a thriving agriculture industry to feed the people, to establish food security, instead of wasting time trying to legalize marijuana.
The proposal of the bill covers various aspects, including medical cannabis prescriptions, which means that doctors would be able to prescribe cannabis to alleviate pain and suffering for specific conditions like cancer, multiple sclerosis, and epilepsy. These pastors contend that this is long overdue, as they call for the government to move forward swiftly. However, they believe that it must also be handled delicately to ensure that the legalities are in place.
It takes your life away from you. It takes your aspirations and your future away from you. It causes you to lose focus on what you was born for, which is purpose.
There are other practices relative to what they report that marijuana, the benefits are. There are other methods.
The bill also seeks to protect those of the Rastafarian faith through religious use of the plant. A concern may be policing the access of the plant, but the bill addresses implementing various measures to ensure responsible usage.
I think also that the government is being very strategic in that it may have as a goal sometime in the future having marijuana available for recreational use, but they're beginning with the medicinal part of it and then with also the religious part.
They're using this premise of legalizing medical marijuana to really open up the door for more to come.
Again, the natural behavior of mankind is already in effect, and maybe it may lead to that. But I appreciate at this point, it's not going to eradicate the illegality of the casual use of marijuana.
Now, the Cannabis Bill of 2023 aims to establish a Bahamas Cannabis Authority, which would also be responsible for controlling cannabis access, legal production, medical, scientific, and religious handling, as well as quality assurance and public awareness of associated health risk. Live in studio, I'm Jolanda Thompson-Everest. Back to you at the desk, Romiko.
Thanks so much, Yolanda. In other news, Minister Fred Mitchell once again holding the Grand Bahama Port Authority's feet to the fire tonight. Minister Mitchell pointing out that the Casuarina Bridge as an example as to how he says they are not fulfilling their duties. Our Ajaquant picks up the minister's comments.
It has been nearly 4 years since Hurricane Dorian has damaged the Casuarina Bridge behind me, forcing it to close for repairs by the Lucaya Service Company. Now, back in July, the Lucaya Service Company did say that it is making good progress. However, Minister Fred Mitchell says it is taking too long as a result of what he believes are lack of funding.
You have to ask yourself, how long does it take to fix a bridge?
Minister Fred Mitchell making his way to the bridge to speak up on the prolonged delay in repairing the Casuarina Bridge, which connects East Grand Bahama to the city of Freeport. Minister Mitchell delivering a quick history lesson on how Grand Bahama was split in 1967.
The Grand Bahama Port Authority and its associated companies actually cut the island of Grand Bahama in half, 7.5 miles, called the Grand Lucayan Waterway. And this was promoted at the time as a means of creating more property on the waterfront for people to sell land.
In November of 2022, the Lucaya Service Company Limited reclosed the bridge to facilitate ongoing construction repairs following the initial damage from Hurricane Dorian. Now Mitchell noting the lack of progress is a cause for concern and could be attributed to insufficient funds.
If you're a sensible person and you look at the acts of people and you say, why is it this is not being done? And they give you one reason after the next, engineering, testing, whatever. It's not our fault, it's the government's fault. So the bottom line is there's no money.
Meanwhile, the government has been calling on the Grand Bahama Port Authority to address the concerns raised by the people of Grand Bahama and the international investment community. Minister Mitchell now reiterating,
can you perform the provisions of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement that you said you would perform in 1955, for which you got tax forgiveness, for which you continue to get tax forgiveness? And if you cannot carry out those provisions, then it's time, perhaps, for someone else to have an opportunity to do so.
And while there are many signs plastered all over the road deterring traffic from entering the bridge, as you can see, cars are still driving on it.
It should have been fixed already, or leave it closed, not open it back up to ride on the condition it is now. The X, that means don't drive through, right? Or you could drive through.
So would you say that the signs are a bit confusing?
It is. Remove the sign completely if the bridge is open.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Ajaquant.
Well, dengue fever cases are now on the rise in the country, and tonight a local doctor is shedding light on the signs, the symptoms, and possible treatment of the virus. Just recently, Health Minister, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darwell, reported that all of the cases are in the nation's capital, with one suspected case in Abaco, adding that health officials are on high alert. Raven Davis reports.
Close to 20 reported cases of dengue fever reported in country, igniting concerns about a possible rise. According to Clinical Director at the Grand Bahama Community Health Services, Dr. Stacy Bevins-Lang, dengue fever is a disease caused by the dengue virus, transmitted to humans through the bite of the Aedes aegypti mosquito. These mosquitoes reportedly active during the daytime and typically feed on humans.
The mosquito, those are found more in the tropical areas, and unfortunately we are within the tropical regions. So and with the increased amount of rains that we've been having a lot of stagnant waters, and as a result, our chances of acquiring dengue has increased. The time for intubation is usually 4 to 10 days. So unfortunately, a person can get bitten today and travel, and they only develop symptoms after 4 to 10 days of being infected.
Dr. Lang says dengue fever is a global health issue because of the potential outcomes, but notes that it is preventable. She says, however, knowing the symptoms is key to seeking early medical attention if needed.
First of all, we have two classes, mild and we have severe. In the case of mild symptoms, we have fever, is a really high fever, sudden onset. We have bone pain, muscle pain. Some people call it fever bone breaking or breaking bone fever. We also have persons with complaining of headaches in our severe cases. Persons could come in with severe abdominal pain. They also have the bone breaking or muscle aches, pain, and they can have severe bleeding.
And because dengue fever is caused by a virus, she says there is no exact cure or treatment. In essence, if a person presents with the virus, officials resort to providing supportive care.
That would be hydration, and for persons that for the fever, we give antipyretics, and this also helps with the pain. So we give pain medication, anti-fever medication, and fluid, so hydration. Now, for persons that are severely ill, they are then hospitalized for closer monitoring, and in some cases, those persons, if they have severe bleeding that may occur, they may require blood transfusions or IV fluids and additional medications based on whatever symptoms they may present with.
Now, while there have been approximately 16 confirmed cases so far in country, Dr. Stacey Bevins-Lang warns that these cases are likely to rise if persons don't protect themselves. She recommends wearing long-sleeve clothing, taking care of the environment, and using insect repellent. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Raven Davis.
In other news, Minister of Social Services and Urban Development, the Honorable Obi Wilshcombe, says the department is still facing a number of issues as a result of the impact of Hurricane Dorian and the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly on the island of Abaco.
Bottom line here is moving the economy, getting the economy going again, getting more jobs for people. And if we can get that to happen and they can create some sustainability, then I think the numbers will be reduced. But there are a number of cases that we see developing, and many cases involving children having to move into some of the centers.
He also highlighted the issue of children being forced to move to some of the centers. And with the Grand Bahama Children's Home now overpopulated, the minister says these issues are the result of a number of socioeconomic factors.
It's because of the other issues that create the issues that we're having to deal with. And that's why I'm telling you, it's not a single issue, but I believe a lot of what's happened is related to the existence, the core existence of people. I can't pay my bills. I have nowhere to go. So we have to get to the bottom of it, and it's constant work. So you have to deal with the issue at hand, whilst at the same time we have to think about the psychological changes our country requires.
Also in news tonight, a top financial advisor is warning customers to be aware of a common malpractice involving business establishments imposing a minimum purchase threshold on credit card transactions. In this report, he also breaks down what a customer can do when confronted with these issues. Raven Davis reports.
Advisor to the governor of the central bank, Marlon Johnson, advising today that business establishments imposing minimum purchase requirements on credit and debit card transactions are acting outside of the agreements they've signed to with the banks and credit card companies, though he says this practice is not illegal.
Once you present a valid credit or debit card, they are, by virtue of the agreements that they have signed up to, required to transact. But there are instances, and we've all run into it, where merchants have established minimum purchase requirements. And these are totally ultra-virus to the very agreements that they have signed up to.
Johnson says merchants often adopt this practice because of the fact that they have to pay a commission on transactions, which ultimately ends up being a cost to them.
And I've had a lot of discussions with merchants, and I tell them that, the percentage is the percentage. And you don't want to forgo sales because of that percentage. And if they don't feel as though they're getting a good deal with their particular bank, they can shop it around. But that is the reason that you get that, because it is a cost to them. They don't want to do small transactions because they feel, especially where margins are small, that it can become a loss.
He adds that what is also not in the agreement oftentimes is the requirement of his signature once a PIN is entered.
PIN is your signature. And so they would ask you for PINs. The other thing they're not supposed to do is around IDs. Again, they can ask you for an ID, but they really can't demand it. And again, I have no challenge with that because IDs also help prevent fraud. So, but what I do take issue with is when I see them starting to write down my ID information, when they're writing down my driver's license number or NIB number. No, the ID is just to confirm that this person is who they say that they are.
Underscoring that over time, companies develop informal practices internally that are ultra-virus to the agreements they sign to. Johnson encourages consumers to know their rights and take the suitable course of action when confronted with these situations. I think one of the quick things that people can do is they can just Google credit card merchant agreement Bahamas. And that's what I did. And when you do that, you'll find that there are the draft agreements online. And it's also important, and I tell this to Bahamas all the time, we make noise on social media, we complain, but we don't take action. Ask to speak to the manager, ask to speak to the owner if the owner is available, and let them know that you know your rights. Johnson says it's as simple as asking for the email or phone number of senior management and writing to them, or you can write to the bank who issued the credit or debit card. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Raven Davis.
Well, in news from the crime beat, officers at the 8 Mile Rock Police Station have been searching for several days for Herman Major Jr. for a bail violation. Earlier this year, Major Jr. was charged before the court on a sexual assault and a causing harm charge. Tonight, we can report that Herman Major Jr. is captured. Major Jr. turned himself into the Central Police Station this afternoon. Church doing its part to spread the message on ending violence and abuse. The details of that story, sports, and more when the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, returns.
You asked for it, you've got it. A new plant nursery fully loaded with everything you need and extended hours. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
School socks, and much, much more.
Get your free gift with your $115 purchase going on now at Pandora in the Port Lucaya Marketplace.
We all need to save time, gas, and money. Shopping at Save More can help you do just that. Make us your first stop for all your prescription needs and medical supplies. Get all your health and beauty items at the same time. And don't miss our huge choice of snacks to satisfy your cravings. And the largest vitamin selection and over-the-counter relief products. Need diapers and other baby care items? First stop. The new section for makeovers, cosmetics, and beautiful jewelry will make you sparkle for that next special event. Save More Drugs, your more store.
I like science, especially math, because it allows me to challenge my brain and within solving equations. And I feel as if the battle of the brains is a good experience for young ones like me, especially going off to school in a few months.
I think they're important to test our youth on math and science today. And the competitive spirit will allow each of us to learn more and more about each other and the subject, and will altogether bring the schools closer.
Container 4 pilot. Good morning again. Inbound.
I compared to valet parking. Throw us the keys and tell us to drive it into the port.
Just being able to operate not in the operator's chair was a big difference for us.
We worked very closely with the harbor. It starts there and it ends here. It is a male-dominated industry, and doors have opened up for me and most of the women here because of the opportunity.
These are one of the machines that we maintain, make sure that it's safe for our people. This is what we do. This is our bread and butter.
Our team meets every challenge head on. I've just loved seeing and being a part of the growth and the development of our team and Team Freeport.
The Insight on Hutchinson Ports, airing August 28th at 8:30 p.m. right here on the ZNS Network.
King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your number one news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. The Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce hosting their August business meeting this month with a special guest from Barbados. Jo Ellen Larrier is the manager of the partnership's advocacy and reporting at the Caribbean Export Development Agency. The presenter making her way to the island to promote and encourage business owners to partake in the upcoming Caribbean Investment Forum that will be held in Nassau on October 23rd through the 25th.
This is going to be a very high-level event that is attracting businesses from across the region to come together to explore the opportunities that are apparent within 4 key sectors. What's important for them to really understand is that, you know, this is an unparalleled opportunity for them as business owners to really meet and connect with the right people. If they're looking to expand, if they're looking to grow outside of the Bahamas, for example, across the region, maybe even if they want to expand obviously internationally as well. There's opportunity in order to do that by meeting the right people that are going to be at this event.
President of the Chamber of Commerce, James Carey, is also encouraging the business community to attend, as he says he is excited about Larrier's attendance at this month's meeting.
We're hoping that the Grand Bahama business community will come to participate in that and make themselves available and go and attend, because we're only going to get a snippet of what's happening today, and you know, every opportunity for us to glean some more information, find out avenues for funding. It all means good news for Grand Bahama at the end of the day, whatever we can achieve out of it.
One voice ended now. The Atlantic Caribbean Union Adventist Women United stepping out and standing against violence in the country. Karen Burrows, the Women's Ministry Director, says the group will be hosting a motorcade on Saturday, August 26th from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
This initiative is not just confined locally here in Grand Bahama, but it is a worldwide initiative that takes place every last Saturday in August. And so End It Now means end it now against violence of all forms.
The motorcade will begin and end at the Seventh-day Adventist Church grounds. This year's theme, Wolves in Sheep's Clothing.
Our theme this year we're focusing on is wolves in sheep's clothing. And it is really letting people know that, hey, victims are preyed on, especially our young boys and girls. They're preyed on by people known to them. Hence why we have wolves in sheep's clothing. And so we just want to get it out there that as Adventists, as a community, we don't support violence in any form. And so we want people to come along with us, especially on the motorcade tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., to share their voice and stand up against violence.
And that's a look at stories making news. It's now time for your Friday evening check on sports with Shane Stubbs.
Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Shane Stubbs, and as always, it is a pleasure to bring you your evening sports check. Guess what? Jonquil Jones and the New York Liberty picked up a huge win yesterday. Plus, we take a look at Anthony Strawn and how she fared in the women's 200-meter finals over at the World Athletics Championships. But first, let's take a look at Giselle Lang, who's settling in at college. Grand Bahama soccer standout Giselle Lang is looking to make her mark at Louisiana Christian University.
I came in August 8th, so I've been training for about 2 weeks, preseason training. 3 times a day. The weather is over 100 degrees a day, so it's very hot. School started Monday, so now we're just training once a day. I'm getting adjusted to it, and I'm looking forward to the next few weeks, well, months.
She says it wasn't an easy process, but she was grounded by the encouragement of her mom, Tamara, and her Grand Bahama soccer family in the likes of coaches Mary and Donnie Knowles, as well as Simone Stubbs.
Mommy just always encouraged me to stay focused, keep working hard, and just have faith in God, because something will happen. Coach Mary really taught me to just have faith. She said, something's going to happen, you're going to go to school. And surely enough, it happened.
And she also credits playing in the Bahamas games as something to put her in the right frame of mind.
the team atmosphere, which is a different environment. Like going to the Bahamas game, traveling together, that really helped prepare me to go into a real, like a college and just be with another team.
We certainly wish the budding forward all the best. Next in sports, over in Budapest, Hungary, Anthony Strong coming away as the 6th fastest in the women's 200-meter final at the 2023 World Athletics Championships. Well in the pack, Strong would eventually clock a time of 22.29 seconds. However, it would be Sharika Jackson of Jamaica making history as she took gold in 21.41 seconds. The USA's Gabby Thomas and Sha'Carri Richardson would take silver and bronze, clocking 21.81 and 21.92 seconds, respectively. Also in sports, Jonquil Jones and the New York Liberty getting a hard-fought 95-90 overtime win to eclipse the Connecticut Sun on Thursday evening. Jones came up huge, posting another double-double of 21 points and 14 rebounds against her former team. That win moves the Liberty to 26-7 on the year, and they'll be back in action against the Minnesota Lynx tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock. And lastly in sports, ZNS Total Sports sends our heartfelt condolences to the family of Richie Adderley, who suddenly passed away this morning. The West End native was heralded as one of, if not the greatest guards in basketball throughout the entire country, coming up through high school. He later made his mark as a coach both in America and here at home. May his soul rest in peace.
It's ATIS Company Limited's 4th annual back-to-school drive-through giveaway from noon until 6 p.m. Free hot dogs, hamburgers, soft drinks, games for the kids, free backpacks and school items while supplies last. Number 3 Thackeray Street, Queens Highway.
Doctors Hospital's reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations in Freeport and 8 Mile Rock, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
1 in 6 men under the age of 60 will get it. 1 man in the Bahamas dies from it every 2 weeks. The Black diaspora has the highest incidence of it, and us too will be on the ZNS Health Zone to deal with it. Yes, prostate cancer. Don't miss this informative show on Tuesday, August 29th at 8 p.m. Have the following supplies on hand at the start of the hurricane season. A minimum 3-day supply of water, which provides 1 gallon of water per person per day. Minimum 3-day supply of non-perishable food items. Flashlights and extra batteries. A battery-powered radio to receive broadcasts that will keep you informed of the storm. A first aid kit. A 7-day supply of any prescribed medication. Don't be caught off guard this hurricane season. Be prepared.
This is where it happens. Those moments that impact our lives. Giving you the information that you need this hurricane season. Wherever there is news, we're there.
So put me together, break me apart again. No doubt about
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your number 1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Stephen Harris, you are our Facebook friend of the day. We are wishing you a happy birthday from the team here in the North. We know you are enjoying it. And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. On behalf of the entire news team here in the North, I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great weekend, but be sure to stay tuned. The Bahamas Tonight continues.
Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, Rastafarians decry draft cannabis legislation. Shantytown demolition to begin. Taxi drivers take to the streets. And in sports, Strawn 6 in finals. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Akush Lapinder, and this is the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Thanks for tuning in. Kudos to the government on its efforts to regulate cannabis, but Rastafarians say the draft Cannabis Bill still falls far short. They spoke to our Cleopatra Murphy about their most pressing concerns.
The Rastafarian community is decrying the just-released Cannabis Bill over a lack of consultation, charging that although they met with government, that meeting was to notify them on what was actually in the proposed legislation. Prophet Jah Mickey Bo says as it stands, the legislation does not align with the Rastafarian faith. He's also taking issue with efforts to decriminalize up to 30 grams of marijuana and the imposition of a $250 fine.
The decriminalization that people look at, it still comes to the point that you will be arrested. It's just how you will be charged. That's the only thing change. You know, and what we see is under the previous administration draft of what they wanted, at least they had steps in place for after you be charged up to 3 to 4 times. This one says either you take the charge and pay the fine, or you go to court and get it put on your record.
With efforts now to create a cannabis industry, the Rastafarians believe practitioners like themselves will not be able to participate, with one lamenting that persons with criminal records for having possessed marijuana or another drug cannot apply for a license.
That would be a qualifying criteria that you wouldn't meet. And with that being said, it's like almost every Rasta, you could almost do that too. And many of us have been charged innocently. At the same time, we had to just go along with the charges that they would have put on you.
Most egregious, the Rastafarians say that the bill restricts where they can perform their sacrament.
Also said that the only way they would want us to consume our sacrament is at the compound, the church compound, which most Rastafari in the Bahamas do not live at the church compound. The church compound is not big enough to house all of us. Within the private capacity of our homes and also within secluded areas such as even a beach or whatever, we consume our sacrament and we give praises regularly.
With public consultation set to begin soon, the Rastafarians say now is the time to speak up, and they're encouraging everyone to do the same. Attorney General Senator the Honorable Ryan Pinder says the legislation is just a draft and is encouraging everyone to give their feedback. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
Well, thanks, Cleo. We can also tell you tonight the demolition set to begin on shantytown structures, but not all of them. This stemming from a Supreme Court ruling back in May that just 2 of more than 300 structures in New Providence and Abaco the government had asked to be torn down violated a 2018 injunction preventing new construction. The Supreme Court lifted that injunction put in place by Justice Cheryl Grant Thompson in February. The injunction also prevented the government from tearing down shantytowns on the mentioned islands. Acting Press Secretary Keishla Adderley gave this update on the government's efforts to rid the country of unregulated communities.
The Supreme Court has recently given a ruling that gives clearance for 2 structures in the Carmichael area to be demolished. The final notices have been given in that regard, and it's expected that those demolitions will take place within the next 10 days or so. The Secretariat is also in the process of setting up an operations center, finding a spot to be able to operate from, and assessments, investigations, etc. are underway with a view to how to deal with the many more irregular communities and dealing with the demolition of those communities.
The man at the center of the citizenship case that captivated national attention, John Roney John Charles, died. He was stabbed to death Wednesday night. John Charles launched a constitutional challenge on the ability to acquire citizenship in the Bahamas. This as he did not apply for citizenship when he was between the ages of 18 and 19. He was subsequently apprehended by immigration officials on September 18th of 2017 and deported on November 23rd that same year after immigration officials cited his alleged failure to produce documents confirming his identity. Fast forward a bit, and John Charles's attorney later traveled to Haiti and brought him back to the Bahamas. But when he arrived in country on February 2018, he was arrested and detained by immigration officers. However, the court ordered his release 2 days later. It was eventually agreed to let him remain in the country and not prevented from working until the completion of the appeal. However, the Court of Appeal overturned the court's ruling. In December last year, the Privy Council found that there was procedural unfairness in the case. John Charles died before the case was heard in the Supreme Court. An overnight triple shooting leaves one man dead, another in hospital, and a preschooler wounded. Our Lloyd Allen was on the scene.
Thursday evening, just shortly after 7, ZNS News arriving to the scene. This in the area of Rupert Dane Lane and Ferguson Street, where there were reports of shots being fired.
Preliminary information revealed that the 3 victims, including 2 adult males and a 4-year-old male, were standing at the front of a residence on Rupert Dane Lane when occupants of a silver Japanese vehicle exited, produced firearms, and discharged gunshots in their direction.
According to Inspector Mikkel Pinder, the victims were all transported to hospital, where one of the men died, the other in serious condition, and the preschooler receiving non-life-threatening injuries to his leg. He was later discharged.
Police are also appealing to members of the public who may have any information as it pertains to this incident to please contact 919, 911, or the Criminal Investigation Department at 502-9991, or our anonymous hotline, which is Crime Stoppers 328-TIPS.
An eerie encounter for resident Harriet Hart as she was conducting a vigil to memorialize her brother, 34-year-old Edron Knowles, who was killed on Saturday in the area of Anna's Close off Cowpen Road. Hart, a member of the nonprofit Dream Chasers, says despite her loss, she remains focused on improving conditions throughout the Baintown community, one of which she calls home.
For me, yes, I am grieving. Yes, I feel it because I know this weekend we would have been on the ground just giving out books and pencils, and he would have been right there being his juvenile self and just touching every home within this community. So the work, his loss is just an addition to our incentives.
As for her brother's legacy,
he was a very resilient young man. He was always people-driven. If there was a cause, I would call him. I said, "Oh, I have an initiative," and he was like, "Sis, let's do it." And we're always on the ground assisting persons within our community.
Active investigations continue into this matter. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
Well, tonight, the family of Dario Dawkins is opening up about last night's rampage, while the area's MP is calling for an end to this kind of violence. Corval Pyfrom has that angle.
Well, everyone's still struggling trying to process this because everyone can't believe it.
Morning after has done very little to erase the fog and haze clouding this family. Mitch Moss, the cousin of Dario and the father of the 4-year-old wounded in this horrific incident, is still grappling with uncertainty, asking himself, why did this have to happen?
If I didn't know anything or possible or something, I'd never leave my baby out there playing or even go around them. You see, but this is a family, everyone close, everyone good. Isn't expecting nothing. So I don't figure out why? Why? That's all I want to know.
A day after this triple shooting, which claimed the life of Dario Dawkins and wounded 2 others, including a child, officers were back Friday morning, trying to reassure residents, though doubtful their presence brings much comfort. Baines and Grantstown MP Wade Watson also on hand to offer his condolences.
I just want to say, that I'm very, very distraught. Fortunately, I had a conversation with the Commissioner of Police. This is my constituency. This is the community in which I was born. And, these acts of crime and violence and gun violence is something that we don't need in the Bain and Grantstown constituency.
Watson is appealing to young men to find better ways to settle their differences. Meanwhile, Dawkins' cousins will miss him.
All I can remember him was my close little cousin, my good cousin. Because he never killed nobody. Not, no one never come to me and say, well, he get a problem, they get a problem with him, or, you see what I'm saying? So I don't know nothing that's just unexpected or the clear blue.
When I said repeatedly, I'm asking the young men to put the guns down and find amicable ways in order to solve the problems and the challenges.
The little boy wounded in this incident was treated and discharged from hospital. Meanwhile, the other man injured in this incident remains in hospital. His condition is unknown. Investigations into this incident are ongoing. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corvell Pfeiffer.
Meantime, the man police believe to be responsible for shooting his girlfriend last night is in custody. The 60-year-old woman was at her home on Sapodilla Boulevard when she and her boyfriend got into an argument. That's when police say he shot her in both arms before fleeing the scene. An all-points bulletin was issued earlier for 66-year-old Jeffrey Sherman. However, police confirmed this evening that he's been captured. A voice note purporting to be that of Sherman went viral on social media today, with a male making a number of serious claims. He is expected to face criminal charges before the courts next week. Meantime, heavy focus being placed on revamping the Parole Act. In fact, according to National Security Minister, the Honorable Wayne Munro, the government is taking a serious look at a Canadian model used to have people deemed dangerous criminals face certain consequences. Munro's comments stem from Thursday's hysteria following reports that recently released groper Sidney Cooper was behind the alleged attempted abduction of a 12-year-old girl. Police confirming in a release that residents assembled outside Cooper's 5th Street Coconut Grove home with rocks, bottles, and cutlasses. As it turned out, Cooper was not the alleged perpetrator the mob looking for. Still, he was taken into protective custody.
It's in fact counterproductive if you make an allegation against the wrong man, given the description that the police put out. The reality, however, is if there's a sexual offense committed and there's a sexual offender in the area, that person will be subject to investigation. The whole thing I would hope people would get is you can avoid finding yourself in that position by avoiding committing sexual offenses.
Still, when asked if notifying the public of Cooper's release puts him in harm's way, Munro admits that's always a possibility.
Being a criminal subjects yourself to harm. You're the person who can control that. But where you display from your criminal conduct, from your behavior in the correctional institution, from what you say on your exit interview, from what you say when I speak to you, that you pose a danger to the public, it is my duty to warn the public. If, for instance, you only pose a danger to people in your household, it would be my duty to notify the people in your household. The whole point of the sexual offenders register is to protect the public.
Protecting the public also sparks questions of again amending the Bail Act, and this in light of a number of prolific offenders being released on bail only to recommit or end up dead.
Insofar as we're concerned with national security, we are concerned with the police arming the prosecutors with information that will permit the court to make sensible bail decisions, where it's our view that the court has not made those decisions, to appeal them to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal has recently upheld a remand for the public safety over persons posing a safety to the public if they're released. And more importantly, we're concerned with a task force that we are seeking to set up.
Monroe says the Director of Public Prosecutions has already given indication of who she thinks should be on it. That leaves the Minister and the Chief Justice to now put it in place. In other news this evening, taxi drivers up in arms and the focus of their frustration, the police. Fern Carey fills us in with the details.
A group of taxi drivers stationed near the Nassau Cruise Port downtown are not happy about what they claim is constant harassment by the police as they walk on the sidewalks in that area in the hopes of drumming up business from tourists. Chairman of the Prince George Taxi Drivers Committee, Hubert McIntosh, claims the harassment started about 2 months ago and it is hampering efforts to make money. McIntosh is equally upset that some of his colleagues have even been arrested and locked up by the police for soliciting business from tourists.
They're telling us that the sidewalk is private property and that we are not allowed to transit and talk to tourists as they come out of the port. We have on the inside a group of taxi drivers that talk to guests, but this is the overflow. We're not going to get everybody that comes in there, so when the overflow comes out here, we got drivers here to intercept them and to talk to them and ask them, hey, you want a taxi? You want to go on a tour?
They are actually arresting taxi drivers after they have agitated them. And when I say agitated, they're bringing up these false laws. For instance, like you cannot assemble in an area. That's number one. They're telling us that we cannot stand on the sidewalk. They're telling us that we cannot talk to the tourists.
You have to solicit a job in order to feed your family. Good morning, how you doing? Welcome to the island. Can I make some suggestions to you about a taxi or tour service or tour of the island? That's what we do.
These taxi drivers say engaging with tourists is pivotal to their business, and they are calling on the powers that be to intervene.
The police department is putting too much pressure on the drivers. And what has happened is they have put a lot of young police officers, I'm an ex-police officer, that should never be. They need to be guided by senior officers, not working on their own.
Community activist Lincoln Bain says he has spoken to police regarding the taxi drivers' concerns.
We also made clear that the sidewalk on the northern side of the street is not a private place. That is the government sidewalk. All right? You should not be arrested on the government sidewalk. And the Charlotte Street area, that the sidewalks are being blocked because y'all are clogging up the streets trying to clamor to get to the tourists. You have a right to apply for hire for your tour or for your taxi, but we have to be courteous.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Fern Carey.
Now, while taxi drivers are claiming abuse by officers, Deputy Commissioner of Police Lehman Delaveau agrees more may be needed to assist in the area. On the other hand, he says police have received many complaints from tourists about taxi drivers.
We again saying to the public, listen, the young people and the not so young who are there harassing the tourists unnecessarily, right? We're saying to you, resist that type of behavior. We know that you all need to make money, but of course there's a proper way to do it. And so the police will continue to be aggressive at those persons who go foul of the law. Doing a full investigation. I saw the video circulating on social media, but once we're able to check the video, we'll be able to make a determination.
Still to come, making the dream of owning a home a reality. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. There's more news in a moment.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Folk Call Smart Pass, the smart way to pay at the pump.
Welcome to a world where hope is still loud, where dreams are still relevant, and determination has no substitute. Welcome to a nation where the people are still warm, resilient, and innovative. And Commonwealth Bank is at the center of it all, giving innovation and progress an extra push for more than 60 years. We're here for Bahamians because we are Bahamian. Commonwealth Bank, your leader in personal banking services.
I always find new ways to connect. Even with those friends that are very, very far away. It doesn't matter who you are, What matters is sharing. Because sharing a bucket with friends tastes finger-licking good.
Join up for life insurance. Secure the ones that you love. Join up with Family Guardian. We offer full protection. Join the family. Join the family. Family Guardian. Protect the ones you love. A brand that you can trust. Family Guardian.
For hurricane season, we got impact windows and doors. For protection, just come to our store. Plus we got tiles to pretty up your walls and your floors. We'll help you brighten up for that big bad storm. Porcelain tiles, blank tiles, mosaic tiles, a variety of styles. Before teens get right, they gotta be rough. That's why we got the best deals in the whole Bahamas. Hey, hey.
Well, as health officials grapple with containing a possible dengue fever outbreak, a critical warning coming in for residents throughout the country, particularly those in low-lying areas. According to environmental health officials, even constant fogging does little to minimize the threat.
We can fog your area, your yard, an hour from now, and if 3 or 4 hours, as long as those containers are there breeding, you have mosquitoes emerging. The mosquito that transmitted dengue is the Aedes aegypti. As stated earlier, it's a container breeder. Now, the most active period for that mosquito is either dusk or dawn, where it's not so hot, it's cool of the evening or cool of the morning, it's the most active. However, again, personal protection, your repellent, long sleeves to prevent getting bitten.
Well, Bahamas is hoping to get its hands on the RSV virus vaccine that the U.S. Federal and Drug Administration just approved on Monday. The vaccine, produced by Pfizer, is administered to pregnant women late into their pregnancies and protects infants from the virus during their first 6 months of life. During its trial involving 7,000 mothers and infants, the Umbrizo vaccine cut the risk for babies needing to see a doctor or be hospitalized. In January, PMH officials alerted the public to a surge in RSV cases among children. Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darvald, says he's excited about Umbrizo's approval.
We would like to ensure that we don't lose one person as a result of not receiving the vaccine. I think it's a good thing. I could tell you our ministry is looking to acquire the vaccine and make it available in the country and reduce the infant mortality rate and also to protect our pregnant mothers. So I'm excited about the news, and we have been talking about it within the ministry.
Despite high level of political support and concerted efforts to eradicate all forms of violence against women and girls, Commonwealth ministers acknowledge the rates remain persistently high. Social Services and Urban Development Minister, the Honorable Obi Welshcombe, speaking to the issue during the closing press conference for the 13th Commonwealth Women's Affairs Ministers meeting.
Levels of sexual and or physical violence against women and girls remains at about 1 in 3 women. This affects 736 million women worldwide. 736 million women worldwide. In just 1 year, 45,000 women and girls lost their lives at the hands of their partners and or family members. Commonwealth research has found that inadequate action on prevention and ending of violence against women and girls can cost between 4.6% and 5.5% of national GDP. With the global cost of violence against women and girls estimated to be $1.5 trillion, that's US dollars.
If you're an aspiring homeowner, then this next story may be for you. Officials of the Teachers and Salaried Workers Credit Union and the Department of Housing have inked a deal to make the dream of owning a home a reality. The two entities partnering on the credit union's new mortgage financing program, marking an innovative way to home ownership. Here's Minister of Housing, the Honorable JoBeth Colby Davis, with more.
It's another avenue, it's another option. While the Department of Housing does not dictate to persons who they should choose to do business with when it comes to taking out a mortgage, we try to make sure that there are options and opportunities available to all persons. Some may not be able to get a mortgage from a financial institution because the terms are too high, the interest rates are not comfortable for their financial position, and so we've been working hard to explore options that give them a better avenue to home ownership.
Credit Union President Byron Miller says the organization has set aside about $25 million for this partnership, enough for just about 100 Bahamians to mortgage a government subdivision home.
With the launch of this specialized mortgage financing program, this credit union brings its decades of experience and expertise to assist residents in fulfilling their dreams of owning a home in the desired government subdivision. Key features of the credit union's mortgage financing program include competitive interest rates, flexible loan terms, and we work with you, and a streamlined application process.
Marcellus Hall joins us in studio with a check on what's coming up in sports. Marcellus?
All right, coming up in sports for this evening, a final chance for the Bahamas to win a medal at these World Championships. We'll tell you if they got it done just ahead in sports.
You choose to save when you choose to shop at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. So cheesy macaroni and cheese, 7 1/4 ounce, 89 cents. Amerlanda milk, 1 liter, $1.59. Hillendale eggs, extra large, 1 dozen, $1.89. Sweet Gala apples, 3 for $1.09. Chicken drumsticks, 89 cents per pound. Donate your change to help feed the Humane Society animals at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Have you ever purchased a defective item and was denied an exchange or cash refund? Contact the Consumer Protection Commission at 393-7795-8 or our 24-hour complaints hotline at 357-7898 and let us help your voice be heard.
Hey, get up, stand up. Stand up for your right.
You can find it all at Builders Mall. From cement, lumber, block, plumbing, and electrical to paint, lights, vanities, and tiles. Not to mention all the tools you could possibly need to get the job done. Say if you're starting a major project, adding the finishing touches, or just doing some repair or rental work around the house. FYP, the Paint Center, and Tile King can help. Stop by or call 601-8453. Located 69 Wolf Road, Nassau. You can find it all at Builders Mall. Building, painting, and tiling, the Bahamas.
Are you dreaming of the perfect summer getaway? Apply for a debt consolidation or personal loan to win an airline ticket to Paris, Miami, or New York. Win up to $2,500 in cash and more. For details, call 356-7764 for Nassau, 602-6811 for Freeport, 823-4374 for Abaco.
A significant milestone for 41 Bahamians who are this year's graduates of Cyber Tech Training College. Desmond Saunders joins us live in studio with a look at the special awards ceremony honoring their achievement. Desmond?
Well, thank you. Yes, Makusala, a remarkable moment for 40 scholars who weaved through countless challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic to achieve associate degrees in accounting, law and criminal justice, human resource management, and computer information systems. For valedictorian Wade McPhee Jr., it was no easy feat, but with sheer determination, his dreams became a reality.
I will never, ever forget the day I went to register. I was hopeful and excited, but after I paid the $50 deposit, I found out I would have to complete payment for the courses in the next few days. This was an unexpected expense. I immediately changed my mind and asked for my $50 back. But I was told it was non-refundable. Because I did not want to lose my $50, I decided to continue with the course. And today, I stand before you as the valedictorian of Cybertech.
Some 36 females and 5 males make up the latest cohort. While a notable achievement, Minister of Labor and Immigration, the Honorable Keith Bell, concerned over the low level of male graduates within tertiary education. He's making this appeal.
Less than 10% of this graduating class are men. While I commend each of you, Bahamians, we have plenty of work to do. Men, we have plenty of work to do. I invite all of us to do whatever is necessary to ensure that our men strive for higher education.
And with the rebound of the local economy, Minister Bell reminded the new graduates of the vast opportunities now available within the local labor market.
Of those 600 applications that I reviewed today, a number of them were for renewals and a number were for new applications or new permits. And while I would have refused a number of them, the fact of the matter is that a number of these applications could easily be filled by Bahamians.
Mr. Bell told graduates that they are now equipped with a set of skills that could shape and change the world, and the government needs the best and brightest to serve this country. Congratulations to all of the graduates, and back to you in the studio, Makisla.
Administrators and educators are preparing to welcome thousands of students back to the classroom in a matter of days. And readiness includes being prepared for the occasional challenges with student behavior. This can range from campus violence, insubordination, and even instances of cyberbullying. Harcourt McCoy is principal of C.V. Bethel Senior High. He and his team are using a number of strategies to hopefully mitigate against incidents of trouble, or at least best deal with these matters when they occur. The principal says he and his administrators are keenly aware of how trouble from the outside can sometimes spill onto school campuses, so they work to ensure they are constantly instilling the school's ethos into their students.
We have a multiplicity of avenues for them to direct their time. There is things like cyberbullying and things that we cannot even be aware of because they happen in cyberspace or in the communities. But our assumption is that when they come here, their thinking will be reformed and rechanged in a way that allows them to conduct themselves like excellent students, even if it's only for the time between 9 and 3 when they're with us.
McCoy stressed that vital to overall student success is the involvement of parents. He encourages them to take an active role in both their children's social and academic lives and build strong relationships with their teachers. He also urges them to ensure their children are adequately equipped with school supplies, enabling them to have a productive school year.
We have a phrase at CV Bell that says, no book, no bag, no entry. You dare not walk through our campus and don't have a bag with books or some form of scholarly equipment to work with, because there are 5 classes a day and you need every book and supporting piece to be able to fulfill your goal of the highest GPA possible and getting yourself ready for your next phase of life.
If you haven't checked everything off your list to get your kids ready to head back into the classroom, all this next story, it may be able to assist you. Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store in Mackey Street has the latest trends in school uniforms and other school necessities that's bat-free. LaDon Davis popped into the store today to find out what's on the shelves this school year.
R.M. Bailey graduating senior Jasonique Russell is one of thousands of students accompanying their parents to Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store on Friday in search of essential school items needed to get a fresh start this academic year. The future prefect shared what taking on this new role means to her.
Being a leader and showing people my skills and just leading other people.
Managing Director Kim Gibson says sales for back to school have gone through the roof this year.
Well, customers have really taken advantage of the VAT-free holiday, and so we noticed a greater influx even starting from last Saturday. So sales have been good, yes. Seeing customers come from almost all of the schools. And we are very pleased to say that we carry uniforms for most schools in New Providence, and we carry the fabrics for almost every school in the Bahamas.
In just a few days, the new school bell will ring, but according to Gibson, there are some new features now in stock.
Customers have been coming in for our embroidered school shirts. In the past, customers would have to purchase the shirt and then go and have it embroidered. But at Carey's, we have the shirts already embroidered for most schools in New Providence. And so that's been quite a feature, quite a great seller. People are coming in and then buying them 5 and 6 at a time.
Gibson says the store is fully stocked and ready to tackle the mad rush by last-minute shoppers on Saturday. Additionally, she says the store hours have been extended on Sunday. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lidon Davis.
And as school reopens, we want to encourage you to send your photos and videos to us so we can share with the rest of the country. All you have to do is submit them to znestnews@gmail.com. A gentle giant remembered for his numerous contributions to the country, especially the construction industry. The late Brunel Kelly, known as a contractor extraordinaire who set the pace in the sector. Among his masterpieces in Francis Cathedral, St. Cecilia's Church, Caves Professional Center, Camps Bay Clinic, homes in Carmichael Village, and so many more. Kelly was tragically killed 3 weeks ago during a hit-and-run accident in Florida. During a memorial service at the Progressive Liberal Party's headquarters on Thursday, those who knew him well remembered him as a key pillar not only to the PLP, but the Bahamas.
He was always there for the party. And those of us who knew him, loved the contribution that he made on behalf of all of us, without asking nothing in return.
We've come to pay tribute to the memory of a man who served his country in a truly magnificent way, who was a great friend of the founding father of our country and his wife, a fellow South Androsian. He walked with kings and kept the common touch. A man who was noteworthy for his humility.
In the Pindling era, there were businessmen, and I describe them as such, who were part of the wealth creation of the Progressive Liberal Party, so that when the Progressive Liberal Party, in good times or bad, needed help, you could call on them implicitly to help. And they didn't question. And he was one of those.
A homegoing service takes place tomorrow at St. Anne's Anglican Church in Fox Hill for the 80-year-old.
In case you missed the news or want to stay ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook.
Vaccines protect those we love the most, our children and our grandchildren. I vaccinated my children to protect them. Getting your child immunized can protect them against diseases like polio, measles, whooping cough, and others. So protect your child today by getting them immunized. My grandchildren are vaccinated. You should do the same. Vaccinate your children and your grandchildren and make sure they are safe.
Vaccines are essential for new and returning students. As you begin back-to-school preparations, ensure that your children's vaccinations are up to date. All vaccines are available at all public health clinics.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and USAID.
First we plan, then we innovate, then we build. At Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we are committed to quality, to safety, and to service. We know that the road you take is just as important as your final destination. At Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, it is our job to make sure the road and the ride are as smooth as possible. From striping roads to building them. We are the right choice, the trusted choice, the only choice to help you build your tomorrow.
Vibrant heart of the Bahamas, a common loftier goal unites us all. A place where love and unity thrive, where world-class technology is accessible and affordable, connecting every generation. We believe in our heritage and the boundless potential that lies within us. We believe in Bahamians.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station, open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
Two Abaco schools on the receiving end of a generous donation. That's $1,000 to Cooperstown and James A. Pender Primary Schools, all courtesy of the folks over at BTC. The donation comes as the corporate citizen recently opened a new retail space on that island on Monday. BTC CEO Samir Batty tells us the importance of the company giving back.
I'm sure the students are excited to get back to school, and we're just as excited to make this contribution. It's important to us in that we're all about connecting communities and changing lives, and we also know we need to connect with the communities, and so this contribution is a part of that mission.
James A. Pender Primary Principal Corinne DeVoe was on hand to accept the donation. She says the generous gift will go a long way in jump-starting the new academic year.
Thank God that, they remembered and thought of us down in Sandy Point and Abaco. And I'm certain it will go a long way. And on behalf of the Ministry of Education and James A. Pender Primary, we would like to say a special thank you to BTC. Some of the plans we have, we're going to do a little work around the school, and we're also going to use it to register for NACOB. And it will also assist in getting our tuck shop started at the school.
Well, it's time now for a check on Family Island weather with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Lakeisha. We have partly cloudy skies. The current temperature just around 86 degrees. Relative humidity 68%. The winds out to the north at 4 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,012.3 millibars. That's 29.84 inches, and the pressure is steady. Temperatures around the Family Valleys this evening, they are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 87 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Green Tool, Key, and Marshall, Abaco. The Berry Islands at 86. Allentown, Bimini, 85. 86 degrees in Harbor Island. Rock Sound, Eleuthera, Black Point, Exuma, and Camp Space at Andros at 88 degrees. Fresh Creek in Central Andros at 86. 88 in Otterstown, Cat Island, San Salvador, and in Rum Key, Georgetown, Exuma, 87. 88 in Ragged Island, Cloudstown, Long Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Maguana, 87. Acklands, 87. Matthew Town, Inagua, 88. And the Turks and Caicos Islands at 84 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Center. For all areas tonight, right through Sunday, those winds going to remain light and variable with flat seas, but there'll be some occasional swells as a result of Franklin. Low tide that will occur at 9:48 tonight. You can expect another low tide at 9:40 tomorrow morning. And that's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. got to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned. Your extended weather forecast is still ahead.
Are you looking for the right window and door to accentuate your beautiful home? Well, Coral Windows Bahamas is the ideal place for you. With 20 years of experience, we specialize in creating that perfect fit and that exquisite look. All of our products are custom-made, impact-resistant, and come with a 5-year warranty. Installation is included. We also specialize in shower enclosures and glass railings. Visit coralwindowsbahamas.com or call 352-6556 or 7.
With the help of our authorized financial institutions, or AFIs, using sand dollars is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Step 1. Identify your preferred AFI by browsing their websites or contacting them directly. Step 2. Download the free mobile application from Google Play or the Apple Store and then register for a Sand Dollar account. Step 3. Load money onto your mobile app and begin sending and receiving Sand Dollars or purchasing and selling goods and services.
We are pleased to be
your central bank approved
digital wallet providers.
It does not matter which of us you choose. You can pay for goods and services
wherever Sand Dollar is accepted.
We are all in this together.
Visit sanddollar.bs for more information.
On May 1st, 2012, Rubis acquired the Chevron fuel business in the Bahamas, which traded under the Texaco brand. We are now celebrating our 10th anniversary of the Rubis brand in the Bahamas. Rubis has become the fuel brand of choice. However, our 10-year journey was not without challenges. We would like to recognize our dedicated members of staff and thank our customers for their continued support. We look forward to another 10-year milestone as we continue our journey.
My mommy made sure that I was vaccinated because she loves me.
Getting our precious little ones vaccinated protects them from so many diseases like polio, measles, and whooping cough. Vaccines are safe and effective. Immunizations can prevent illnesses and even death. Vaccines are essential for new and returning students. As you begin back-to-school preparations, ensure that your children's vaccinations are up to date. All vaccines are available at all public health clinics. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and USAID.
ZNS Total Sports is brought to you by the Bahamas Striping Group of Companies. Tune to coverage of the World Athletics Championship on the ZNS Television Network from August 19th through the 27th and watch all the action live from Budapest, Hungary.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Well, welcome to your ZNS Total Sports Check on a Friday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. It came down to a final chance for the Bahamas to win a medal at this year's World Track and Field Championships. Anthony Strawn on the track in the finals of the women's 200 meters.
Anthony Strawn representing the last chance for a medal at this year's World Championships in Budapest, Hungary for the Bahamas. Strawn in the finals of the women's 200 meters should be stationed in lane 3, facing off against some of the fastest in the sport this season. At the start, Strawn trying to keep pace and indeed would hold her own, but this would be all Sharika Jackson of Jamaica. She runs away from the rest of the field to finish in a blazing 21.41 seconds for the win, second fastest time ever. Strawn would finish sixth in 22.29. Gabby Thomas of the USA was second, followed by fellow American Sha'Carri Richardson. Crifter Triathlon Championships are on for this weekend at Montague Bay, starting tomorrow morning, bright and early. Activities will get started this evening with the Junkanoo Rush Out, leading the countries from the Breezes Hotel to Goodman's Bay. The parade of athletes at 6. It's the official opening countries participating. Over 200 athletes in this one. Bahamas, British Islands, British Virgin Islands, Bermuda, Barbados, Jamaica, Aruba, Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Antigua, and Barbuda, all expected to compete in the various divisions. Now, the first race set for tomorrow morning, 7:30. That'll be for the 16 to 21 age groups, males and female, followed by 9 o'clock for the 13 and 15-year-old division. The 11 and 12-year-olds will go at it at 9:45. The awards presentation set for about 11 o'clock tomorrow. Of course, action will continue on Sunday. Shifting focus now, the UB Mingos ladies volleyball team taking on Florida National University yesterday afternoon at the Bucky Dent Gym in Hialeah. Mingos struggled in the first set. They dropped that one 25-8. Second set, UB playing much better, but would still go down 25-12. They would get off to a 4-2 lead in the third, but that would not hold up as FNU comes back to take the set 25-10. They win the match 3-0. Two squads right back at it again today. The Bahamas Youth Flag Football League set to kick things off this weekend at the Queen Elizabeth Sports Center. League Administrator Jason Clark talking about being pleasantly surprised at how the league has been so much growth since getting started.
It is a bit surprising in terms of the growth thus far. We do know that we would have been working hard in terms of growing our numbers, as last year we actually started a program in 4 of the high schools. And so we had a high school tournament, I think it was in March or April of this year, which definitely helped us to grow our numbers. And we see a number of those kids from those schools who are now registered for this year within our season. So definitely I think the work that we've been putting in is now starting to pay off.
Clark adding that competing at international tournaments had inspired the young players to push even harder to get better.
Competing internationally has definitely raised the standard of play within our league. Additionally, one of our top-tier athletes just in August actually is now gone off to school at age 13. So now he's studying abroad as a result of that, and he would never play tackle football in his life. He would have only been playing flag football from the age of 6. And so now to see that happen, I think we're starting to see the results of the program having been in existence for the last 8 years. So I do believe the steps we've taken to compete internationally is really caused our program to really soar to some extent.
And that's it. Your check on sports for you here on this Friday. Don't move a muscle. We have a look at the weather. That's coming up right after this.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Are you looking for the right window and door to accentuate your beautiful home? Well, Coral Windows Bahamas is the ideal place for you. With 20 years of experience, we specialize in creating that perfect fit and that exquisite look. All of our products are custom-made, impact-resistant, and come with a 5-year warranty. Installation is included. We also specialize in shower enclosures and glass railings. Visit coralwindowsbahamas.com or call 352-6556 or 7.
On May 1st, 2012, Rubis acquired the Chevron fuel business in the Bahamas, which traded under the Texaco brand. We are now celebrating our 10th anniversary of the Rubis brand in the Bahamas. Rubis has become the fuel brand of choice. However, our 10-year journey was not without challenges. We would like to recognize our dedicated members of staff and thank our customers for their continued support. We look forward to another 10-year milestone as we continue our journey.
The most important thing in life is family. And whenever you need reliable advice, you look to the people you know you can trust. At J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers, we earn our clients' trust every day. Whether it's home, motor, travel, or commercial insurance, we've got you covered. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
Vaccines protect those we love the most, our children and our grandchildren. I vaccinated my children to protect them. Getting your child immunized can protect them against diseases like polio, measles, whooping cough, and others. So protect your child today by getting them immunized. My grandchildren are vaccinated. You should do the same. Vaccinate your children and your grandchildren and make sure they are safe.
Vaccines are essential for new and returning students. As you begin back-to-school preparations, ensure that your children's vaccinations are up to date. All vaccines are available at all public health clinics.
This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and USAID.
Time now for weather.
In our final look at weather, we'll get you started with Tropical Storm Franklin. Not much change has taken place. At 5 o'clock this afternoon, Franklin was some 250 miles to the east of Grand Turks. Franklin is moving towards the east-northeast at about 6 miles per hour. However, we anticipate a sharp turn towards the north, and that will cause some intensification to take place over the next couple of days. By early next week, Franklin could possibly be a hurricane as it moves more towards the Bermuda area. And then the area that we're really looking at very closely is this area of tropical moisture near the Yucatan Peninsula, an area of low pressure expected to form somewhere here in the western Caribbean Sea, and it will trek towards the north, and that should remain well to the west of the Bahamas, so no major concern there for us. But certainly at the Florida Peninsula, for those of you who are traveling this time of the year to Florida, it will be heading that way over the next few days. Satellite pictures showing high pressure remains in control of our weather over the Bahamas, so we'll continue to see relatively dry conditions with just the usual pop-up summer-type showers and thunderstorms taking place. Tonight, very warm with increasing clouds and late-night thunderstorms in spots, meaning they'll be very isolated with a low temperature of 81 degrees. And tomorrow, thunderstorms again in spots during the morning, otherwise intervals of clouds and sunshine with your high temperature reaching up to 88 degrees. And the extended weather forecast for the next 7 days. Those isolated showers and thunderstorms will continue right into Monday off and on, but come Tuesday we'll see a bit more sunshine in our forecast. On the middle of the week, those showers return again with more cloudiness working its way into our forecast on Thursday. Temperature-wise, low 90s during the daytime, upper 70s to low 80s during the daytime. Kishla.
Well, thanks, Basil. And before we leave, we're just 1 day away from the final Gombe Summer Festival. It promises to be just as exciting as the last 3 have been on Bay. There will be food, entertainment, and lots of fun. General Manager of Events for the Ministry of Tourism, Nikki Simmons.
It's just about the tradition, and that's what we're going to showcase. Of course, we're going to have some Gumbe dancers, fire dancers. We're going to have D-Mac, the king of Rake and Scrape, Bloody, Fan Sean. Everyone's going to be backed by Shad Colley and the VIPs. It's going to be a fantastic time. We just want to encourage everyone to bring out their families. This is the final. It is August 26th. We start at 5 p.m., and it's going to be a good time. We have a kids' corner, so you can bring out your children. They have carousel rides. It's just good, clean fun.
And that does it for the Bahamas tonight. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. From all of us here at ZNS, thank you for watching and good night.
What does disability look like?